Welcome to my channel. Woo-woo. I just wanted to do a little quick introduction video just to explain what this page is all about, what sort of thing I'm going to be covering, and just why I created it. I am a little bit nervous to be putting myself out there like this on the big bad internet world, but when I was going through my darkest days, I swore that whenever I get out of this mess, I would create something like this just to share what has helped me. In a way, it's going to be like I'm talking to my old self, like what I wish I had known when I was going through it. So even if it helps one person, like I think that will be worthwhile. So the idea for the name, The Hope Boat, actually was inspired by something I learned at the Optimum Health Clinic. I did a 90-day plan with them. One of the first things that they did with us was help us understand our boat load and what really got us sick and what is keeping us sick. So the different components of the boat included things like genetics, adrenal, immune, digestive, toxic overload, and structural issues, and personality subtypes such as anxiety type, achiever type, trauma type, and so on. And then sitting on top of the boat was just a block that was life. So just things like daily pressures and stress. And finally, on top of the boat was an arrow pointing down. That was a trigger. So things like viruses, traumatic events. So when we were doing this exercise, the Optimum Health Clinic practitioner gave us about 10 minutes to fill in this like nice little diagram of a boat. And then she asked how everyone's boat's looking, and I just raised my hand and said, like the flippin' Titanic! So yeah, my boat was pretty full. So I will at some point in a different video go into my full story and how I've got here. But for now, I'm just going to summarize the sort of things that were in my hypothetical boat load. Basically, to cut a massive long story short, I had lived 28 of the best years I can ever imagine. I was just constantly traveling, cycling, running, hiking, climbing, anything with an ing by the sounds of it. And yeah, just living like the best life ever. In I think 2019, I finished my job as an animator on a show I was working in Belfast. So the contract finished and I had accepted a job working as an animator on the show Bluey in Australia, which was absolutely my dream come true. I have always wanted to live in Australia, so to go there and do my dream job, which I absolutely love doing, was just the most exciting thing ever. So I had those 5 months then, and as with every gap in between animation contract, I would fill it with amazing adventures. So literally the day after finishing my contract in Belfast, I flew to Tanzania and climbed Kilimanjaro, then climbed Mount Meru, spent about a month in Tanzania and did kite surfing, traveling, partying. Got back from Tanzania, still wasn't done traveling, so I then booked flights for me and my bike and solo traveled pretty much the whole coast of Portugal, which was amazing. And then got back after that, and then me and a friend went and did a long distance hiking trail in Austria. And then I think after that I had time to squeeze in a family holiday to Spain, which of course included some kayaking and cool stuff like that. Then I went to Australia, and this is where things get very complicated. So again, to cut a long story short, I was in Australia for not that long and well, things had been going well, and then all of a sudden I was just hit with the most horrific symptoms of fatigue, and like not like tired fatigue, like it felt like walking in mud, and just terrible headaches, loss of appetite, basically feeling like I had the worst hangover of my life, and the flu and jet lag all at the same time, and just like I'd been poisoned, and the most horrific brain fog. I didn't even know what to call it at the time, but it was like my head was full of cotton wool. I even forgot my own address at one point and had to Google Maps it, and just being so cold to the bone, and my hair is even starting to fall out. And probably the most puzzling of them all was what I came to know as PEM, which is Post-Exertional Malaise. So on the better days, I could go out and go for a walk, and then the day after or the next day, I would just be hit by a bus and would suffer just horrendously for it. But just like being hungover, most of the time I could still go through my day and just push through, and to everyone it wasn't obvious what I was going through. I barely spoke about it at the start. I didn't even tell my parents for quite a few months, until I had to, because they were coming over to Australia and just found me in a heap on the footpath. But yeah, it's hard to explain, but somehow I was able to just make it look like everything was okay when I was just literally felt like I was dying inside. So over the following 2 years since the crash, I saw 8 doctors, a naturopath, a nutritionist, a psychologist, and official sort of diagnosis that followed was firstly Hashimoto's, underactive thyroid, mosquito-borne Ross River virus, which is crazy because every single Australian person I know has lived in Australia for their whole lives and hasn't got this virus, apart from one person. I know one person, and then I managed to go to Australia and spend a month there and catch it. But anyway, and just to make me really feel like my body was falling to bits, I had 2 abnormal smear tests during these couple of years as well. And ultimately, an integrative doctor I saw vaguely diagnosed chronic fatigue syndrome, ME, because at that stage so long had gone by after having Ross River, and the thyroid was being managed well, so there was no other explanation for it. But I did seek further tests which showed things like parasites, 4 chronic bacterial infections, and poor cortisol rhythms. So at this stage I was gathering that this wasn't one issue. Like at first I thought, the thyroid, I'll sort that out, that's it, start thyroxine, everything's gonna be fine. And then I thought, oh, Ross River, well, it's a virus, that'll go away. And just with everything that I kept finding, like when I sorted it out, just nothing changed. Like if anything, things were getting worse. So after going down the conventional medicine route and getting absolutely no help whatsoever, even experiencing, that classic old chestnut of it's all in your head. I even had one doctor say to me, oh, we see this all the time, especially women when they turn 30 and they realise that they can't do what they used to do. And like, he basically was telling me that I was just getting old at 28 years old. I wanted to flip the table, but I was too sick to do so. So I did explain to him that 6 months earlier I was climbing Kilimanjaro, and now I am struggling to stand to cut carrots. I remember around this time trying to make soup, and I'd be standing cutting a carrot and be saying to myself, cut this carrot and then you can sit down. And then I'd sit down, and then I'd get up again, cut another carrot, and then I'd sit down, and I'd be taking a break in between cutting carrots. And that soup took flipping ages to make. But that's not the point. It just didn't feel right. And to be told that it's all in your head and you're just getting older. I was 28, by the way. Is just insulting. And so after all this, I decided to embark in a more alternative approach, and I quit my job in Australia, which was absolutely heartbreaking, but I knew it was the right thing to do, and I decided I was just going to spend as long as it takes to do anything and everything. I was willing to just spend every single penny I had saved in trying all these different therapies and just doing anything I could think of to get better, because that is and still is the most important thing, is health and being well. So to date, I have spent nearly £10,000 over the past year and a bit on trying out all these different therapies, and some of them have worked, some of them have made no difference, some of them have made things worse, and I don't believe that everyone has to spend 10 grand to get well. So that is another reason why I'm creating this channel, just to share, like, if you're gonna spend some money, like, where I believe that you should prioritize your money. So the sort of things I tried, this is quite a long list, so I'm just going to fly through it, was dietary changes, like cutting out gluten, cutting out dairy, cutting out soy, autoimmune paleo diet, vegetarian diet, juice fasting. I'm currently trying intermittent fasting. I have a list because there's so much in here, I even forget what I've done. Adjusting thyroxine to try different levels. I've tried 4 different types of thyroid hormone replacement, antibiotics for 3 weeks, infrared sauning. I even bought an infrared sauna blanket, cold water exposure, Wim Hof method, naturopathy, things like iodine treatment, addressing adrenal issues, Chinese herbs, IgG food intolerance tests, parasite cleanse ×2, 38 different types of supplements. That's mental, and this included things like boosting vitamin D, mitochondrial support, glutathione, CBD oil, antimicrobials for co-infections, and 5-HTP. But the list goes on and on and on. I'll do another video on that alone. I tried things like yoga and meditation. I even did a diploma in meditation. I joined the Optimum Health Clinic and did their 90-day plan, which is a neuro-linguistic programming course with one-on-one psychology sessions. It covers learning different tools, such as EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. I tried mental rehearsal, pacing, acupuncture, Epsom salt bath, and I've been seeing an Optimum Health Clinic nutritional therapist for the past year. And most recently, I've been really getting into energy medicine. And I think that's it. There's probably more things, but they are the main things that I can think of that I've tried these past couple of years. So like I said earlier, I'm going to be treating this channel or page as the sort of things that I would like to have heard when I was really in my darkest days with this. I ended up joining so many different online support groups and I didn't find them helpful. You know, seeing every day like daily posts of, if you have this condition, then you're more likely to, I don't know, die earlier. I'm just making that up, but I did eventually find some groups and pages, which I'll be sharing, that were so much more optimistic and, you know, recovery focused, and that is what I want to be creating. Basically what I wanted to see when I was at my worst, and these are things that have worked for me, and that doesn't mean that they're going to work for you or anyone else, and you might totally disagree with what I say, but if it even helps to even just give someone a little bit of hope, even that things can get better, then that is me happy. So I'll be sharing my reviews of everything I have tried, things that have helped, things that haven't, and I'll be sharing some reviews of books that I've found useful, and just generally things that have given me hope, because like the name suggests, hope for me was one of the most important things to get me through this. In some of the worst days where I just felt so hopeless, I would switch on one of Raylene Eagle's recovery stories on YouTube, and just I would feel so much better after it, because I think if you don't have any hope that things are going to improve, then it is so difficult to keep going. And recovery is hard. Recovery is so hard. So if you don't have hope, it just is so difficult to continue and to keep trying to improve things. So it had been really important for me to wait till I was 100% recovered before starting this channel, because I feel like if I'm gonna say, you know, this thing works, you know, how can I have credibility to say that if I am not recovered? And as well, something that I feel is that I would take the advice with a pinch of salt from someone who is still really unwell. So that's just my personal reason for feeling like I should be 100% recovered to make this channel. But I was speaking to someone recently who said to me, rather than, you know, looking down from above on a pedestal giving advice, that I should just start it now as I'm going through this. And I have come a long way. Things are so much better, and I know that things are going to be 100% very soon. I'd say I'm maybe about 60 to 70% right now. So I am inviting you to join me as I recover the final 30% or so of my health. So thank you for watching, and if you are interested in everything I've been saying and everything that I will be saying, please subscribe to the channel or like or follow, and you can see more content like this. Thank you and goodbye.